December. Going. We are live. Yeah. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Wendy French. Hello. I'm here and I'm about to introduce our guest. I'll wait a few minutes. We were trying with the audio and the video just a few minutes ago, and so I hope the sound and the video will be clear, and I hope you can hear well. Just give me a nod, Wendy, if you can. So without further ado, I think it's time for us to introduce our mystery guest. She goes by the name of Tanya. You're on. Tanya Love Buddha, she calls herself. And I'll start the questions and the ball rolling, and then you can ask questions as you wish, and then I'll put them on the screen for both of us. One thing I wanted to tell Tanya before we began is that I realized ever since I asked you to come on, my subscribers were writing to me, and I understand that you have sort of a cult following. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the number of subscribers or that, but it's your style, the way you read, the way you communicate. And I realize that everyone just loves you. Oh, who knows you? Tanya, I just love her. So I'm very, very happy and very pleased that that you were able to be with me tonight. So I have everything sounds all right, so we can start. Let me ask you a couple of questions, and then that will get the ball rolling. Tanya, when did you start reading? When did you start reading, not just for family and friends, but for the public? Around how long ago was that, and in what conditions? What got you started?
It's probably about 12, 13 years ago. And can I just say thank you as well? Hello,
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you to everybody. And that's the first time I've ever heard that I have a cult following, but I have amazing followers. So if they hit it, thank you as well. But yeah, it was about 12, 13 years ago, and I started to do just a daily card on Facebook. I would write it because I write a lot, and I'd pull a card, start to write, and I don't even know what I'm writing, and I post it. Sometimes the grammar is terrible on it because it's not, so it's like automatic writing. So I used to do a daily card on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to do a daily card on Facebook. And then one day, this is probably about 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I got up in the morning, sat down with my cup of tea, went to pull the card as I normally did, and Spirit said to me, "You're doing this on video." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And they were like, "Yeah, you are." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And you know what it's like. They always get their own way. So they said, "You're starting a YouTube channel." And I was like, "Look, I just need to get the card done." And within half an hour, I had a YouTube channel. I went live, and I was terrified. And when I watched my first one back, it's so embarrassing. And people started following, and people started following.
How long ago was that when you started the channel?
How long ago
did you start the channel?
It was about 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I think I started the channel, round about then.
Okay, good.
And then just more and more followers, and then, to me, I don't see my work as about likes, I don't want to get up there in the hundreds of thousands or whatever. To me, it's about life. And a lot of my work, rather than it being prediction or anything like that, is teaching people about themselves, teaching people how they can live tarot is an amazing tool, and I combine tarot with I don't like to call it channeling. I keep saying that I get told things, so as soon as I pick the cards up, I start getting told things, and I just the information. So I like to see myself as like a telephone line. There's a message that needs to come through me, and I give it out. And I think anybody that is learning to read or, wanting to read, and they get worried about the messages that they pass on or they write, if they take them at it, because to me, when I see it, are you still there? You've just gone off. I can see you now. When you take you out of it, because the you, am I getting this right? That is kind of a little ego voice. So when I think I trust spirit and I trust my cards, then whatever comes out of my mouth, I trust it. When I start to think about it, am I getting this right? Have I read that right? Then, my thoughts go into it rather than it being like a clear channel. So once I to do that, because it was spirit again that told me, and they just said, this isn't about you. It's about like us using you kind of thing,
What is the most
I have a
you mentioned the tarot, and maybe you could tell us a little bit more about how you read and how you view the tarot. What is it for you?
The tarot is my God, my Bible, my sat nav, my best friend, my teacher, everything. And I believe with the tarot, within them 72 cards, every time you pick it, you have an opportunity to transform every single time. And within what I love about the tarot is within that deck, that's 78 cards, there is every person you will encounter, every feeling that you will feel, every situation or experience that you will have, and they're all within them cards. So I call it a sat nav for the soul. That's what I think it is. If you're lost, it's almost like a GPS. You just tap in where you are, and spirit will tell you why you're there, how you got there, where you're going. It will give you insights into external things that are requiring your attention. It will, buttons are being pressed. It will tell you why they're being pressed. So anything at all, it kind of shines a light on things. It helps you see things in a different perspective, kind of see through different eyes, because a lot of times we get tunnel visioned, and especially if we're in it, it's very personal, and we get in this space where we can only see our way. And the tarot, you turn a card and instantly it will just show you, maybe a neutral viewpoint from it.
Right.
And what I love about tarot is when you follow the Fool's Journey as well, we realize that life is not linear, and Spirit showed me once, they said, when it's linear, people will say to me, I just want an easy life. I just want everything to just go smoothly.
There's nothing easy here.
That's not life.
Yeah.
So they showed me a hospital bed. And, if somebody is ill and they're in a hospital bed and they're rigged up to a life support machine and you see a flat line going along, that means they're not living, and that's not what you want to see. What you want to see is the little red triangles going up and down and up and down. And if we see that as life and realize that, even the downs, they have something in it for us. They have some insight. And I feel especially over this Gemini moon that's at the moment, it's telling us, what I feel is that, to go into our shadow side, because everybody talks about love and light, and yes, that is massively important, but sometimes we need to go into that. We need to delve deep and go dark to find that treasure.
Stop. Stop. Before we go deep and dark, let's go back a minute. You were talking about the hospital bed and the line, and then you have to see this little red light. Once you said to me, Tanya, you said, I see colors. What did you mean?
Well, colours. I mean, I'm an artist as well. That's what I trained in, so colour is very important to me. And it was funny, I said to my friend the other day, I love the colour of this song. And they were like, what are you talking about, the colour of this song? But I see colours a lot. Whether they're there, it's not like I'm sitting looking at colours with you, but then when I tune into your energies become colours. I'm very visual, and I don't know whether it's I see through rose tinted eyes, but that's the way I see the world, and everything is colour, even when things are black and white, and when things are really grey and dark. then I feel if you look for the color, you can find it. And I once did some work. I was working with people with alcohol problems, and I was talking to one of them, and I asked them what it was like the first time they took, what color was it the first time they took this drug? And they looked at me like I was crazy. And then I said, no, if you had to put a color on it, what is it? So they told me. And then I asked them different stages of their addiction, until it got to really bad, and asked them to pinpoint a color with each one. And at the end of it, they were sitting with so much insight, and they said, I'd never realized the progression until you actually asked me to look at it simply in a color. So I feel, we can do that with, art, like when I was doing art therapy, it's like, what color is anger? What shape is it? What color is happiness? And just by people visualizing, these colors themselves, it can instantly like lift their mood. So if somebody's feeling really down, and they could say, I'm feeling really down, and okay, think happy. They're not going to think happy because they're down. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, right. What does happy look like? Instantly, they see that color. So the second they're seeing that color, it's triggering something within them that actually lifts that mood slightly.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. As a matter of fact, I'd like to ask the audience, the people, we have about 22 people here. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question? Write your question in the chat, and I'll put it on the screen for everyone to see. And a question for Tanya, or for both of us. Let's see if anyone does ask a question, because there are a lot of readers among the people that, the subscribers that we both have. And I find that there are more than we expect, and there's always so many questions that even in the last Mystic Talks, you once, I'll wait for the question, but in the meantime, I asked you once about a mystic experience that you had. And you mentioned something about your mother. Yeah,
I lost my mother 10 years ago now, tragically in a car accident, which she predicted for years, but got it wrong. She always said that she would, I'm going a little bit off tangent. I actually find this quite funny because, I don't feel death is a bad thing. I think it's as much a part of life as what living is, And she always told me that she would die by water. And whenever we went on holiday, she wouldn't go above her waist. She hated going over bridges or whatever. And eventually, sadly, like I say, she was killed. And her friend came to see me a couple of days after, obviously upset. She said, she always said this, Tanya. She said, but she said it was water. And then when I thought about it, it was actually a water tanker that was taking water to the reservoir that had crashed into her car. So she'd got the water, but obviously she'd interpreted it wrong. So I was like, she was always right, because my mom was very psychic, but she was quite scared of it. So even when I was being brought up, I was told it's the living that will harm you, not the dead, Tanya, So there was never a fear around it. It wasn't encouraged, but it wasn't discouraged.
Yeah.
Neither. So then when she passed, obviously there was a lot of things going on, a lot of her estate, and, and you're just in that time where you're trying to sort everything out. And she started to come to me, and she would come and she would tell me things. Yeah. And I was like, right, okay, have I really lost it here? Have I really is this all too much? And then she would tell me things. And then the following day, I would go to the person that she'd spoke about and said, who is such and such? Where is this? What does this mean? And you could see the shock on their faces. And this was stuff that I couldn't have known. They were like, who have you been talking to? That is a secret. And then it just came all the time, And sometimes now she will just pop in. I'll be doing the dishes, or I'll be cooking some food.
Nice, that's nice.
And it'll be like,
it's beautiful.
I couldn't do it like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes she's as annoying since she's passed as what she was when she was here, typical mother-daughter thing.
I have a couple of questions for you, Tanya. Talking about colors, we have Nancy Nancy Castiglione asks, what color is 220 going to be? Do you have any feeling?
What? When, I've just got shivers there.
Yeah.
When she said that, the first thing I got was like a blue, almost like a regal blue going to a light blue, which
color. I had the same color. I swear to you, I had the same color.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Well, blue, I don't know about blue to you, but blue to me is very healing. Blue is always a healing color.
Yeah.
It's always with me. It's always linked with emotions as well, but it's always linked with communication and the way we speak. And it's a very truthful color. I feel blue. It's almost like it's got a serenity. Some people can say blue is cold, but it's, to me, the color I got, it was quite like a warm one. So I'd never thought about that. What a question, Nancy. But yeah, the first thing I got was blue there. You know, I don't think
I had a different color from you, not the royal blue, but a blue green for me, which is also healing. I have a question here from Margaret. Margaret Cranford asks, I paint art pieces and use music to see color. Art has been healing for me as a healthy alternative. Do you believe this could be used to help others feel color and help in trauma healing?
Massively, 100%. I actually done an experiment when I was at university where people give me music that I hadn't heard, and I had headphones on and blindfolds on and different color paints. They'd all out, and I was listening to the music and trying to paint the music like what I was intuitively drawn to, which was quite interesting. And I have friends of mine who are actually doing research at the moment into kind of, well, it's psilocybin, you know, which is the ingredient within magic mushrooms.
Right.
And they are using blindfolds and music to actually, it's a proper research, you know, that they're doing to actually heal trauma, like massive trauma. One of them was working with, I think, is it the FDA in Canada? And they were using this for post-traumatic stress. So yeah, I feel when we get into our senses, you know, because this is it. I mean, a lot of times, you know, we see through our eyes, but if we shut our eyes, it's like when we're in a dark room, the best way to find your way out of it is to shut your eyes. Yeah. And when we do, we get into our fields and we start to feel a lot more. So yeah, I feel painting, and to me, art was my biggest therapist. I didn't realize at the time, but every piece of art that was coming out of me had quite a dark time, you know, and I went back to my art, and every piece that was coming out was actually, it was like I was releasing the trauma into art, and once it was there, it wasn't, I didn't do this on purpose.
Stop.
It was organically
Stop. Stop. I'm going to have to stop you. I have questions coming one after another, so I'm going to stop you.
Right.
I have Gardner Happy. Gardner Happy is asking, how do you pull up spirituality from deep pain?
Because I feel with that, and that's quite interesting, because there's been a lot of pain this last week, has come up personal stuff, and I feel to really go into it, you know, to see what this pain is telling us. I often believe that pain is answered prayers, and pain is there to tell us that something is not right, something is wrong. And if I feel pain, we need to feel it. A lot of times we get a headache, we take a tablet, you know, to get rid of it, rather than thinking, hold on a second, am I being told that I'm dehydrated? Am I being told that there's something wrong with my sinuses? Am I being told there's something wrong with my life? So, you know, we try to stay away from pain, whereas pain is actually sometimes our biggest teacher, our biggest healer. And when we pain is a part of life as well, because that is, when we have pain, it is an opportunity for massive growth for us,
Yeah.
you know. And when we're scared, Spirit said to me, it's scared and sacred are the same, you know. So
Yeah.
if we're scared of going down to some pain, it's because there's like a sacred opportunity
healing
to
there.
heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
There's
that pain, what it is we're feeling, we've already experienced it. So we shouldn't be scared of it, because we've got pain, it's because of something we've already experienced, not something we're going to experience.
right. I agree.
Yeah.
I have now another question from Florita. Florita Monchita asks, can you tell me if you review your life all the time with memories? This has been happening to me. Am I the only one?
No, I mean, I don't know. It might just be me and you are the only one there, Florita. But whenever I go through a big shift, which has happened in the last couple of years with my life, it's almost like they show me a timeline. So it's like reading a book. When you read the first page, you don't know who the characters are, you don't know why they come in or whatever. When that book's finished, everything has made sense, and you understand that person was there, why that had to happen, and the whole lot come together. And every time I kind of have a phase, you know, or go through a new phase or a new cycle, they kind of show me that, so it makes sense, so I can close that book. And then the memories are there, but the memories are not painful. The memories have been healed because I can understand why that had to happen to get me to where I needed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There are a few other people here who say that they had similar responses to the color of 2020 was a sort of blue, some different shades of blue. Let's see. Let me see. I have this comment. It's more a comment than a question. Mimi is asking, for the past 5 to 10 years, when I dream, I'd go someplace in my dreams and I'd come back through this huge, heavy door just before waking. And then there's nothing else that Mimi writes. There you go. Here's the second half of her question. Here it is. The second half of the question. The same month I discovered tarot videos. I came back through the door and it stayed open. What could that be? How is seeing auras and colors similar, or are they? Seeing auras and seeing colors. So there are two questions here. This open door, when she started looking at tarot readings.
I feel
go ahead.
Sorry. The open door, what I feel there with it, because again, when you're talking, I'm being shown it in my head.
Yeah.
And I feel with that, it's, you know, when we sleep, that is when our ego shuts off, you know, we are easily accessible to other realms, or, you know, other dimensions, or whatever we want to call it. So when we sleep, it's easier for them to get the messages to us. So I feel that's what the big heavy door was. It's almost like between the human life and then, you know, another life kind of thing. But if you started to find tarot videos, started to open to them, then you've actually opened the door yourself, rather than them having to wait until you were asleep to open it for you. So, you know, if once you start to open up yourself, that hold on, there might be something more there, you know, that's it. That's when the images come in. But I feel that's why the door is now open.
And the aura, is seeing a person's aura similar to seeing colors?
It's similar, but I feel they're different. I mean, our aura, you know, we all have one, and, you know, depending on how we're feeling or whatever, it expands and things like that. But I feel that's more a part of ourselves. The colors I see with people, when I see colors with people, it's more what they're feeling rather than their aura. So somebody can have a very enlightened aura, but they can still be feeling a little bit crappy or something like that. So their colors are kind of different.
Okay.
Is that
There's there's a lot of different comments here, and there is a subscriber called Aura. She said, "I heard my name. Here I am." All right, so we have a question. I hope it's not a personal question, but to view videos full. So to view is the name. Not sure I'm allowed to ask this question, but is there a meaning when saints continue to appear in your dreams, even when the dream has nothing to do with religion?
Yeah, I think so, because to be honest, I think saints and spirit don't really have anything to do with religion anyway.
Yeah.
That's probably controversial, because I feel, you know, man-made religion. The rules of religion made by man. They were wrote down in a book, but of somebody's interpretation of their connection with spirit, you know, or somebody that had gone up. So, you know, I'm not religious. I say I'm not religious yet. I've studied a lot of religions and took the bits out of them that feel right for me, you know, and the stuff that spirit told me. But I feel when we put something in a religion, you know, then that kind of, it puts it in a box. And, you know, spirit and saints and things like that are not in boxes. You know, I feel spirits are ascended masters that were actually put down on this earth to do the job that they were meant to, you know, and then, you know, when they go back up, they can still contact us. We can, you know, we can call them in and things like that. So, yeah, I don't think that that's unusual. That it's not about religion, but you're still dreaming of saints.
I have another question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Orikas asks. Orikas 123. Orikas asks. Hang on. I ruined my. There you go. Would you consider tarot magic because of the influence of your interpretation, or is tarot more esoteric? Does belief have influence on the outcome of the cards? So,
no, because I love reading for skeptics. That's my favorite. One of my dear friends was a skeptic for years and wouldn't believe it, and I've bought him 3 tarot decks since, and he works with them, and he is amazing. And he was a total skeptic. I can't explain how they work. I just know that they do. To me, it's almost like a tool. You pick it up and it's there. But what was it she said in the beginning? Because it was quite interesting. She said,
would you consider tarot magic because of the influence of your interpretation, or is it more esoteric? Does our belief influence the outcome of the cards?
No, I don't feel it does. I don't feel it does. You know, I feel sometimes if we're reading for itself, for ourselves, it can. Because again, our head gets in and we know which direction we want that to go in, or we can interpret the cards in the way that we want. You know, so yeah, I don't believe that does. And I also believe with magic is you know, how do we describe magic? To me, magic is the way the universe works. And when we start to understand how that actually works, and we start to understand life better, we see that there are magic miracles there, like every day. They're just waiting for us to take them, you know. So yes, so I don't feel it's magic. I think magic has a bad rap because people think it's smoke and mirror. It's not. It's an illusion, you know, which I don't feel tarot is.
Okay, I have here Florita. Florita asks, can you talk about karma, please?
Right. Okay. Right. Karma. In what way? I mean, karma. I feel. I mean, we've got so many different aspects. How is it? Could you elaborate, please, on what you feel with karma? Because we bring karma into our life from our past lives as well. This is usually what we call our south node. And then, you know, we work towards our north. But so we can bring karma in that way. We can have karmic relationships with people. that, you know, a lot of people will say to me, oh, I've met my soulmate. And I'm usually like, well, you want to hope that they're not. Because if we've, you know, had a karmic relationship with somebody in the past, we're going to bring the troubles of that into this as well. And we've got to work through them. And then there's also the karma of, if we do wrong, does that come back and get us? And I feel it does. There's always a consequence for all of our actions. And I feel this is why, you know, if we try to do good all of the time, if we try to be kind, and if we try not to let our ego take over. But my belief as well is also that everything happens on this earth that is meant to. So we signed a contract before we came down here to experience everything we did, and the people that do us wrong, or if we do wrong, they also, that's part of their contract as well. So, you know, it's karma's a funny thing, but I feel if you do good and you try to be kind and come from your heart, you know, then, you know,
she's clarifying, Florita's clarifying, and she's saying, has it excelled from past years, since we are in the age of Aquarius? Has karma excelled? I'm not sure I understand. This is Florita Monchita. I'm trying to think, maybe it's a Spanish translation. Has it come from past years, since we're in the age of Aquarius? I'm having difficult understanding. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm difficulty understanding what that one is meaning as well. I mean, I had an interesting conversation the other day, and we were playing with cards and some stuff came out, and I don't say that this is the truth, but it was interesting. It made me think about something. And what it was saying was almost like that there's a timeline, you know, like a different, you know, a parallel universe, you know, of our past going alongside this. And every time we are healing a trauma here, we're kind of healing that past. So it's almost like changing the outcome of it, which I thought was interesting. I don't know your views on that, Christelle.
Well, but, I have, yes. I've got here someone that could add to this. It's Goodnight Irene. And her comment is, karma is the universe's way of bringing balance.
Yeah.
That's an excellent definition.
Yeah, amazing.
Excellent definition. Amazing. And we have a challenge here. We've got a challenge by a person called Boxmate. He says, or she says, Epstein didn't kill himself. Any thoughts?
I completely agree, and that's quite strange, because I'd done a reading last night, and for some reason that came out in my reading. He came out in my reading as well, and there was stuff that I probably couldn't say on here was actually shown to me last night. But no, I don't believe he did.
Yeah, either do I. Either do I. I'm practically positive. I mean, in my readings, in my visions, it was a woman to be involved, and it wasn't the woman that this press was talking about. Goodnight Irene comes to clarify.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. Well, Goodnight Irene comes to clarify, and she says, I think she means, Florita, I think Florita means, what Florita means is karma happening in this life as opposed to much later? That's asking about the timing of karma.
It depends. You know, I do believe what goes around comes around, you know, and sometimes it can be quick. Sometimes
it varies. It varies.
Time. So sometimes it can be like that, instantaneously, pretty much. Yeah. And then other times, you know, it can take a little bit, but it always goes around.
Right.
It always
Florita
comes back, you know?
Clarifies, and she says, when karma comes back to us, they say that your karma may come back in your next life. Is it faster now? Again, I think we just answered.
Age of Aquarius, right? Okay, I understand now, because everything is accelerated now in the Age of Aquarius. I live on the island of Ibiza, and it is crazy. The manifestation is so quick.
Really?
Now, you know.
Really?
So, you'll have to come over. You will. It is crazy. This place.
Can you tell me if You noticed it right away when you moved to Ibiza from where you were. You were in the UK, right?
Yeah. I was in the UK, and it was all divinely orchestrated before I even came here. I had no desire. I had never in 44 years wanted to come to Ibiza. And I got here, and within 24 hours of getting back into England, something happened that brought me back here to live. And I was meant to be here for 3 months, and that was over 2 years ago now. And
Wow.
it's this island called you. It is magical. So many people come from all over the world to this place because of it. But it's literally to the point where, man, it really, really makes you focus your thoughts, because whatever you think, you will get it. Like literally, sometimes within minutes. I mean, there was one day I was in a car with a friend, and I was driving along, and I said, we were going to the beach, and I said, I want a Lilo, like the blow up. And they said, you're such a child. I said, no, I want more. And I drove around the corner, and something came out of the sky, and I had to slam my brakes on in the car.
Oh my
God. And it was a Lilo. And it obviously blew off like some hotel balcony or something.
Yeah.
But it literally, and that was in about 90 seconds that happened. So it's everybody here gets it. So I do things are accelerated. Karma, probably because everything else is,
Listen, there are a lot of comments and about karma, so I have to skip that because there's a new question here. I can't get everything on the screen. We have Oricas123 again asks another question, and they say, would you consider reading of bones in voodoo similar to reading tea leaves or tarot? Do you or have you been to sacred druid sites, experience influential energies to improve your psychic energy?
Yeah. I mean, I've been to Glastonbury, to Mexico. Ibiza is one of the spiritual places. Actually, Nostradamus said that at the end of the world, he would like to be on Ibiza. He said it will be the only place left standing during the apocalypse kind of thing. So, the thing I find when you're in these places, it's almost like you don't have to try. It happens without you knowing. And I realized that a lot of my stuff, rather than me, at one time I would sit and I would meditate and I would do all of my practice, which I still do, but I would have to do that like this ritual before I done it. And now it just comes, it's almost like it's just there.
Fast.
You can't stop. But with the bones and things like that, I believe it's with anything. I mean, when I was doing development, I went into development when I started, thinking, whoa, what's going on with me here? And, we'd done it with everything. We would read ribbons, we would read
shells,
like
seashells,
jewelry, anything. And I feel it's the intent. If you have that intent, it doesn't matter what you're picking up. It's just somebody's tool, like in a band, there'll be somebody uses the guitar, somebody uses the drums, whatever. It all makes the music. And I feel that's the same. It's not just tarot. It's not. I mean, a friend of mine once drew tarot for me in a little notebook, and she's not an artist. She's not a reader. And they were so accurate. It was unbelievable. But the intent was there with them. So I believe intent is the main thing. It doesn't matter what tool you use.
I have another question here. I'm not sure if I understand. By Biddy, number one, Vinita, Biddy. Do you know star seeds and light workers give me their good trait? I'm not sure if this is a question or a comment. I hear. Go ahead. You may want to comment on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot at this moment in time about star seeds, the Pleiadians, there's a lot where we are connecting to other planets, where people are being incarnated and everything here. And I get it. I haven't studied that much of it. Friends of mine have. The way I see it is we are spiritual beings that are here to have a human experience. Okay, so if we are constantly trying to get back to that star or constantly trying to connect or things like that, then we are missing the opportunity of this human experience that we are here to master so that we can get back to there. So to me, the way I work, I make it very real. I'm almost like a bridge between the spiritual and the real. It's like, I walk a mystical path, but with human feet. That's what I try to do. So there are people that know so much about star seeds and things like that, and it is just something that has never drawn me to actually study more. Or I've never been told, somebody else's job, I do what I do, or this is what the information they give me.
I have another question for you, Tanya, by Ross Wyatt. Ross asks, what type of entities do you think it would be best to communicate with using tarot to get insights on strong supernatural magic with a K? So what type of entities do you think it would be best to communicate with tarot to get insights on strong supernatural magic?
I mean, I feel this is where, to me, it gets kind of, we've got to be careful. Because although I try to keep my work very lighthearted and things like that, when we start to try and summon entities, or we decide who we want to bring in, that is when we can get problems. To me, I'm open to whoever comes in. I know I feel it. If it's not a perfect energy, then it's no, that's not what I want to work with. But if we are taking control and saying, right, we want to do this, or we want to tap into this, we've got to be very careful, because I don't feel I believe in evil and stuff like that, but there's darker energies, lower vibrational energies. This is why I feel a lot of people, when they say they work with Ouija, a lot of times it's done, under the influence of alcohol or under the influence of drugs. It's done by teenagers. It's done as a bit of a joke, and it's not done with a sacred intent. Yeah. And although I will joke in my cards, there is a sacred intent with every time I pick them cards up. Yeah. If I've had a drink, I will not. If my sitter has had a drink, I will not. So I feel with that, it's very careful. When the information is there, it will come through to you. Yeah. And this is what we do. We've kind of got to surrender to spirit, because they are in control, not us.
I have another question for you, Tanya. Boxmate asks, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Yes, hugely. It's I believe it more than anything. And, our thoughts become things, and whatever it is we think about, it will manifest, and a lot of times we've got to really watch how we speak as well. I think it was Mother Teresa that said, I will never attend an anti-war rally, but I will go to any peace rally you give me, you invite me to. And this is it, or we'll say, I really want that, and we've got to be so careful in how we word things, because if we're what we say we want, that is coming from a place of lack. It's like, when I will have that. This is what I'm going to do. We've got to really bring ourselves into, but also be careful that the law of attraction can give us what we don't want as well. It gives us exactly what we're speaking about or what we're thinking about.
I have another question. Another question. Mimi asks, talking about karma, is there a collective world karma, like countries going through karma because of decisions of its cabinet, and even forefathers century before them?
I don't feel it. I feel you can feel energy in places, but I wouldn't say that countries, have karma. I remember I went to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, and I didn't know the history there. I just ended up there. And I've never felt a place as dark. I was meant to be there for a week and I lasted 2 days. I had to leave because the heaviness was there. I mean, there'd been mass massacres there, you know, and you can sometimes feel that heaviness, that energetically it is still there. But karmically, I don't feel it's karmically, because then that means there's so many other people suffering for somebody else's doing, and that's not how karma works. You know, karma is individual. You know,
I have a question from Gardner. Gardner Happy says, you have said in your readings how spiritual Ibiza has been for you. You also mentioned leaving there to go somewhere else. Can I ask you why you would leave there?
Because this island it's intense. It's crazy. It's like it's 24/7 all of the time, you know. You can have like 4 seasons in a day. It's sometimes like I'd come home and I'd be like, was that only a day? What that's happened? And I went to Tuscany in September, and I realized how this island is like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very chilled. I live out in the country, it's all chilled, but energetically it's fast. So your thoughts are fast, things happen fast, healings come up, like deep dark things that that have been pushed down there for years will come up massively. You will go through absolute hell, and then by 5 o'clock you're sitting with your friends and you've done a full healing, and it's like, really? So it gets very intense, and it shows you things. And I believe Ibiza is like an island of mirrors. Wherever you go, you see yourself, and you can't hide from it. It will give you everything. It's like a harsh mother, and it's like, I'm doing this for you. If you go through the tests I'm giving you, you will get the rewards. And that's what it's like. And I always felt I wouldn't be here for good. And a couple of months ago, I got a feeling that, you know what, it's maybe my time in Ibiza is running out here, you know. I've been kind of trying to plan to move away, and they're going, not yet, not yet. We've still got some to learn.
I have another question. I have another question from Florita, who asks, do you have specific tarot cards that are connected to the body parts or body organs that are standard for anyone to use?
No, I don't. I've never seen a deck like that. I mean, I have about 30, 40 decks here. But I get different messages. I mean, I can do readings for people, and there's readings where I've told people that they're lacking in some sort of vitamin, and that they're having a problem with their kidneys, or there's something like that, and it will be the information that comes out. It's not what's on the card, it's the information that comes out with it. You know, I've things that I've then got to go and look up, because I'm like, I don't know this. You know, so there probably is, but it's not something that I use. And, you know, maybe if you look at like a medical psychic, you know, or a medical intuitive, they might use the tarot cards in a different way to what I do, you know. It'll just, if something is, it will show me.
Good Night Irene tells you, Tanya, you will have to visit Ireland and our ancient sites. Anyone who comes finds it difficult to leave. I've heard that before.
I was thinking, have I got any Irish ancestors? I really need to find out, because I want to get an Irish passport. So, you know, I might be there. Good night, Irene.
I have a comment here by Divine Love. Karma is the reflection of who you are. If we acknowledge what's in front of us first, then we can choose to break out of any circle that no longer serves us. Interesting.
Do I agree with that? I don't know, because I feel, you know, karma is, you know, we all mess up. We all mess up at times. We don't.
Amen. Amen.
If you look at us, you know, in our growth process, you know, we grow by making mistakes, you know, or grow by messing up. So to say that we're going to be punished for that when it's actually a growth process, I feel karma comes, the way people talk about karma is, if we do something really bad, they'll get their comeuppance. But what people don't realize as well is that karma can be good. So if you put good in, you can get rewards. I remember when I first moved here, I was sitting outside and it was so beautiful. And I wrote, "I'm so lucky." And Spirit turned around and they said, "Luck has got nothing to do with it. You earned this. That is why you've got it." So that karma can work in that way as well.
I have another comment from Goodnight Irene, who says, spiritual is who you are. Religion is what you are. Religion is man-made rule. Spirituality comes from your soul.
Well, I believe that religion is, what is it they say? Religion is for those that are scared of going to hell. Spirituality is for those that have been there. So I really believe that we break away from religion when we have been at our darkest times, because when we've been to hell, that is usually when our faith kicks in some way or another, and that is when we really begin our spiritual journey.
Well, Goodnight Irene says, there's a huge demand for Irish passports right now, but if you're English, you can come and stay due to our long, painful history. Well, everybody go to Ireland now.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm on this island.
Let's see if there are any more questions before we sign off. It's almost an hour now. Any other questions? Let's see. Biddy started writing, "Do you believe in," and didn't finish. If you're still there, you can finish your question. Let's see. I think that's it. That's it. That's it. We can say goodbye to Tanya. Thank you so much for coming. I will have you back. We're going to have you back with a theme, another theme, and I'll announce the theme too, because you have this cult following, and many of them are here. Wait a second. There's Mimi is asking a question here. Mimi, how do you protect your mind and body from psychic attack and home from negative energy?
Right. Good one, this. I wear amulets all of the time. This is I've lost 3 actually in the last couple of months, which is quite interesting. I always have salt outside of my door. I regularly cleanse Palo Santo, white sage, and I also don't give too much power to it as well, because I believe if we believe in curses or believe in superstitions or whatever, then, as I said before, it's intent, and our thoughts. So that can happen. Cleansing regularly with myself. Whenever I go in the shower, I let the water come down. I imagine it being white light. Everything that's there goes down the plug hole, and then as I'm stepping out the shower, it's almost like I pull this, I say it's like a giant condom, which isn't a good idea.
I always say, just say no. Just say no away. That's it. Look, I have to relay all of these. Thank you so much. Thank you for this wonderful, enlightening hour. Thank you so much. Divine love. So much love to you both. Everyone is just thanking you so much. Thank you, Tanya. And we will have you back with a theme of your choice. Okay. So goodbye. And I'll hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. It was a pleasure. See you again soon. Bye.